If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard in Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
What's going on, everybody? This is PWZ. This is Rick, and joining me today, brand new to the PWZ podcast, is Will. What's going on?
What's going on, brother? How is it going on this lovely Saturday evening?
Saturday? A couple days ahead. I mean, geez. Don't worry, I'm not editing that out. Anyways, a lot of great wrestling happened this week. I was just talking about it with somebody else. Do you realize that how much professional wrestling is on TV right now? And it's just going to get more and more and more. It's just growing constantly.
It is
streaming apps.
Insanity. We have wrestling Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
And Sundays.
What's on Thursday?
Is
What's Thursday? Is there something on Thursday?
Fuck.
There most likely is. I know Beyond Wrestling had Uncharted Territory on Thursdays on IWTV, but we'll see about that. I believe that's coming back. But man, AEW had a killer show last night with a killer main event. I have to say, I already have to say this, and I said this before when talking to somebody, that I'm going to go ahead. This is probably going to be one of my favorite matches of 2021 already, this close into the year, 3 months into the year. What do you think?
I absolutely think that for a main event, the two women that they put in this event, now you have Britt Baker, who has come so far in such a short time as a wrestler, and then you have someone like Thunder Rosa, who has been grinding as well, who is so hot, and after this feud that they've been building for months and months, perfect blow-off match. Two women beat the absolute living hell out of each other, and it's an absolute match of the year contender, in my opinion.
Just a couple times I actually cringed. I've never seen really two women participate in a match such as this with thumbtacks and all that crap. And we were talking that much blood. I just thought it was insane. I actually cringed several times, but I thought I never lost interest. That was a match that I just absolutely, and you know, I'm a huge Thunder Rosa fan. I know you're a huge Britt Baker fan. It was just amazing, man. It really was. It was a lot of fun to watch at the same time.
And I feel like with what they're doing with Britt, we're now at a point where they are positioning Britt to take the strap off of Sheeta, which, in my opinion, with how far Britt has come, how hot she is an absolute incredible heel. It's the right move whenever they decide to pull the trigger on it.
You think that someone like Britt Baker could help get that AEW into the mainstream more, like crossover appeal, like her character? Yeah,
she has such good character work, and even her waiting room segment is awesome.
Right. She's good looking as well. I think that also has like a lot to do. You know, you have to have the look to become a celebrity, basically. So I think that it's going to be. I think it's very possible, and I can't believe the amount of blood that was in that match. It's just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it in a woman's match. I should say, but one of my favorite wrestlers. Do you think that they're going to carry that feud on any longer? Do you think this is absolutely it? I was thinking, because you know the NWA is coming back. I have some notes here that I want to talk about the NWA as well this Sunday. Would you be surprised if she showed up on Sunday? Britt Baker showed up on Sunday.
I wouldn't be surprised if she showed up. And not that it wasn't a perfect match to blow off the feud, but Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, how much time they have invested in this is money. It is raw. Both women gave it their all. They stole the show, and it was the match of the night.
There's a couple other segments that I really want to get to because this one's absolutely my favorite. The MJF segment with the Pinnacle. I guess they're the new Four Horsemen, so to speak. Tully Blanchard killed it on the microphone. That whole segment, he was just killer. Like he reminded me of like the old Tully from 1987 and the Four Horsemen. He was amazing, and then MJF really stepped it up, I guess.
His promo, and personally, I'm not a big MJF fan,
Really?
but the guy has it all.
Yeah.
And
he's probably like the best heel in the business, I think, like in the last like few years.
Oh, absolutely. And the thing about MJF is his promo is true to what he said. He's only 24 years old. 25.
He's got a long career. Yeah.
Had other, like he said last night, 25 years in this business at least. And
yeah, he's got a long.
Tully is a legend in his own right, and when it comes to the whole legends thing, you bring in someone like Tully, and that is the way you use a legend. You have someone like Jake the Snake with Lance Archer. That is how you use a legend. You have someone like Sting paired with Darby, and that is how you properly use a legend to not only give someone the rub, but they get to pick these guys' brains as well. And you think about someone like a Sting or a Tully or a Jake the Snake or even someone like Christian Cage, who has done and seen so much in the business that it's mind-blowing that they have all this knowledge to feed off of.
Yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. You mentioned Christian Cage. He cut a really good promo last night. I thought it was last night. And it's interesting because I think he's going to be there, and there's a lot of young guys there that he's going to be able to help out, give the rub to, and it's just, he's just that veteran. He hasn't wrestled for 7 years. His mind just like coming back out of nowhere. Well, I wouldn't say out of nowhere because he just wrestled in January. But, how do you figure he's going to go forward, like in here?
So I think the thing with Christian Cage is, you go back to 2005 when he made the jump over to TNA, where he saw something in himself that no one else did. And he goes, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And he put his money where his mouth was, won the NWA World Championship, and really established himself at that time as a top heel business. And you look at something similar to what happened with Edge. Just like Edge, Christian did not get to finish his career on his terms. And going back to Revolution, where they hyped up this announcement, it's one of Tony Khan's favorite wrestlers, and how he's a Hall of Famer, or Hall of Fame worthy, should I say. And it's absolutely true. Like, you look at everything he's done, and it's like, wow, he gets to come back, finish on his terms, and fast forwarding, he shows up last week on Dynamite, Fallout from Revolution, confronts Kenny Omega. Now, if you go back 2 years, I can't remember what podcast it was on. I was listening to it the other day. Christian was talking about how he actually was watching matches and had to turn them off because he was thinking, oh, I can do this with Kenny, I can do this with Kenny, I can do this with Kenny. And the thing about this roster with AEW is, yes, they're bringing in certain legends like Sting, who had an awesome street fight with Darby. But then you also have people, like I said, like Tully and Jake. And then you bring someone like Christian into the mix, who is completely cleared, completely rejuvenated, and has so much to offer. And with such a young roster, like he said in his promo last night, he talks about outwork everyone. And I feel that phrase doesn't just stand for outworking everybody, but as he said in his promo last night, he has to get wins under his belt. And I feel like once he finally steps in that ring, he's going to work with so much of that younger talent, which is a great thing for the youth roster. And I'm not sure if you listened to the Christian Cage podcast with Renee Paquette on Oral Sessions, but she was talking about, and Christian even said it in his promo last night, about how Moxley thought he knew absolutely everything. Then he stepped in the ring with Christian Cage, and Christian Cage isn't just there to be a wrestler. He's there to train, and he's there to help the younger movement. He's not here to be like, hey, I'm taking your spot. This isn't a Goldberg beating the Fiend situation. This is a situation where he is here to help everyone and go out on his terms. And when it goes back to outwork everyone, this is his final run. He is ending his legacy on his terms. Work everyone. He is going to work absolutely everyone to the best of his ability. And with his promo last night, you can obviously tell he's still entertaining. He still has it on the mic.
You were at Revolution last week, right? For the Exploding Death Match, the whole event, right?
I was there. It was a really good show. Starting off the show, Rebel, of course, is involved in a storyline right now where she's injured and using this crutch, which
Right.
can't compete. Oh, we're gonna get a surprise. And the fans were clamoring for Maki Ito, which personally, I love Maki Ito. I think she has a great thing going. I know some people in the States don't understand Japanese wrestling, but she's entertaining, just like some people don't understand someone like John Silver, but entertaining. All around, the card was fantastic. The ladder match was great, and I think Ethan Page was a great surprise. But what a lot of also, I think, don't realize is you have someone like Ethan Page who has previous history with someone like Darby Allin. So that works perfect there. And, skimming through the card, then they hype up this announcement, and you have someone like Christian Cage who that morning, I think it was around 3-4 in the morning, it leaked that he wasn't signed anywhere. Now, I personally predicted, hey, Christian Cage and Ethan Page are going to be the surprises. You saw the countdown, you heard the familiar music, similar to TNA. It's been reworked a little bit by Mikey Ruckus, who does awesome music work. And when that screen flashed in Christian Cage and then he walked out of the tunnel, the place came unglued.
Really?
And I think for him that was so therapeutic because you're gone this long. The people still know who you are. And it was just one of those moments where you had to be there. And I know there's people that are like, oh, well, it's going to be CM Punk or Brock Lesnar. I am one of the biggest punks in the world. Punk will come back to wrestling if it's right for him. If he doesn't come back, that's okay. He has nothing left to prove. He's doing movies. He tried UFC. He's doing what makes him happy. And going forward, we had the first Moxley and Omega match at Full Gear 2019. Lights out match. Absolutely tore the house down. Then you have Winter is Coming. Moxley finally gets dethroned, and I think it was the right moment for Kenny to win the belt. And with how violent the feud had been, this is one of those great things about long-term storytelling, where we finally have this feud that finally comes to a head at Revolution. And I understand that, people were upset. Pyro malfunctioned. It happens. But like they said, Moxley may have not won the match, but he did gain back a drinking buddy. And if you've watched the promos the last few weeks between him and Eddie Kingston, it has been magic. And the way they covered things last week with, Impact paid for the bomb and this and that, only someone like Eddie Kingston could talk like that man can and get that situation over and make people forget about what happened. Again, malfunctions happen. It is what it is. Did it take away from the match for some people? Yeah. For me, not really. But, another guy, Eddie Kingston, grinded and grinded and grinded for years and just couldn't find his fit anywhere because he did things his way. Goes to ICW No Holds Barred, cuts this fantastic promo, challenges Cody, goes, shows up on Dynamite, gets signed a few weeks later. And, that's the thing I love about AEW is this is their second Revolution pay-per-view. And in 2 years, they have come so far. Yeah, their viewership may drop a little bit here and there, but they're still pulling the numbers TNT wants. And I don't see AEW going anywhere.
I think AEW is really good. It's a breath of fresh air for wrestling, because if you think about it, there's only one major company in the United States for 20 years, probably, just about, or 18 years. I'm not counting TNA because, they never really garnered the attention that, they should have, it seemed. Where was I going with this? But I still think they have come a long way. I still think there's a lot of kinks to be worked out, and it's not nearly as open as it was in the past, like in the past 2 years. But it's definitely, there's definitely some things that need to be worked out. Delivery is definitely one thing. They do a lot of hardcore stuff. I'm not sure if that makes sense or not. It's just like everything seems to turn into a hardcore match here and there.
I think they're like the perfect mix. Like, of course, there's kinks that can be worked out, but
Right.
if you were in the 80s, or you were a fan in the Attitude Era, or if you were a fan in the early 2000s, and then the whole PG era happened, and you're like, I know for me, wrestling, not that I didn't love it anymore, but I felt like my intelligence was being insulted. And then you saw what was happening on the independent circuit and in Ring of Honor with the Bucks and Cody and Kenny and people like Mike Bennett and Matt Taven. And you just saw this incredible independent movement, which turned into All In. And then you go from All In and you go to now. And people like Cody said, hey, WWE, bye, see you later. I know what I'm worth and I can do this. And again, like you said, kinks can be worked out, but as long as they keep on the path they're on, it's going to keep getting better. And that's how I see it.
A lot of these guys bet on themselves when they left the WWE. Cody went on to Indies and then to Ring of Honor. He had a stint in Impact too, didn't he? A short stint, but he was there for a little while.
He had
And then I think, and then obviously New Japan and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy. I had stopped watching wrestling for about a good 3 or 4 years. But then, Slammiversary 2018 actually got me interested in wrestling again, funny enough. And I went to, what's that show? Bound for Glory 2018. And to me, it was one of the best shows I've ever been to, attended. And ever since then, I've been hooked again, hooked since. Remember when you first discover it as a kid and you're just obsessed with it? That's what happened right then and there at that that live event, and it's been amazing ever since. So, like, and now it's just like, in that, what's it, 20, that was 18, 21, 4 years, that the wrestling business has changed so much in that 4 years as well. Now there's another major company, AEW, and it's pretty fucking amazing, don't you think?
It is, and you look at you like me go to the Northeast wrestling shows, and that became a mainstay for Cody for a bit because of the promoter's friendship with Dusty. And it was one of those things where they were bringing all these dream matches, and then you get Cody versus Kurt Angle, which I'm a huge Kurt Angle fan. He was one of the first wrestlers I ever met. And you had the series of matches that spanned from Northeast wrestling over to What Culture, and then the final blow-off match in the States, which I'm pretty sure was Cody versus Kenny, and not Cody versus Kenny, Cody versus Kurt in the steel cage. And it was what is happening right now? I'm watching Cody Rhodes and Kurt Angle, the Kurt Angle, wrestle in a high school gym. And you think about that, and sure, Kurt went on to WWE, but Cody went and continued his path, and like you said, New Japan, Impact, he was the first person, I think it was, to work Wrestle Kingdom, Bound for Glory, and WrestleMania in a year span. And it was just again, what is happening? And it's absolutely incredible what happened now.
Yeah, that's awesome. What else you got? You want to bring anything else up?
So we have NWA. So I know a lot of people were worried. NWA's YouTube channel went dark. And I was sitting there, it's what's going on? And then I think it was Fight leaked something for Back for the Attack. A few hours later, NWA announces Back for the
next day. Yeah.
Because of the leak, I personally think. Capitalize. There's all this buzz surrounding them, which they delete everything off their YouTube. Great way to generate buzz. And I know for someone like you who is a fan of old school wrestling, I don't watch a ton. I watch some. NWA has done a really good job of just bringing people to the surface. You have someone like a Ricky Starks or a Thunder Rosa or an Aaron Stevens, formerly known as Damien Sandow. And then you have veterans like Trevor Murdoch and Ken Anderson, Rock and Roll Express. And they've done a really great job. And sure, there's things they could have done better because there were certain talent left. But you even have someone like Eli Drake, who kind of floundered for a little bit, who is absolutely fantastic on the mic, solid wrestler.
Absolutely.
All for years, goes on NWA, creates this buzz for himself, and now all this time later is signed with NXT, which I think is a great move for him. Because personally, I think he deserves that NXT. He deserves more national exposure because, again, you have someone like Eli Drake, who's almost 40. There's only so many years on wrestler's thumb card.
Right. I think everybody saw when the NWA took all the videos off YouTube that it was that it was the doom, that everybody was like, oh, well, that's it, they're done. But I'm just like, no, something's up. You know what I mean? Because literally I was watching it just hours before everything disappeared. And then I go in and I see online everything's deleted. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So I checked it out. But then all of a sudden, like you said, they announced the pay-per-view, and then they've been slowly announcing talent every week, and now it seems like we have a card. Have you looked into this card at all?
I've looked into some of the card, and one of the matches in particular that stands out to me is Aaron Stevens, a guy who, like someone like a Matt Cardona or a John Silver, got himself over. And when he was for someone like WWE, and for God knows what reason, had him lose the Money in the Bank, he did not become a world champion. Personally, the gimmick he had, he was hot at the time, should have been a world champion in my opinion. And according to the NWA pay-per-view, Joseph Hudson, known as Josephus, unfortunately passed away. And in his honor, it is Aaron Stevens versus Alice in the main event for the NWA World Championship. And personally, I really think that match is going to deliver.
I do too, and I think that it's amazing that the direction that they went with, as far as it being a tribute to Joseph Hudson and those two wrestling each other, because I really think that Aaron Stevens is more than capable of having a great match with Nick Aldis. Personal opinion. So I'm really looking forward to that match. There's a couple other matches. Like, I'm really not looking forward to one of the matches. I think we've talked about this before we went on air. The Tyrus match. Is he taking on JR Kratos? Is that what I have written down here?
Yeah, I believe
that's right.
It's like my whole thing with Tyrus is, with everything surrounding him, I don't personally think it's good publicity for the promotion. Not really going to go into detail, but it's also one of those things where, like, his day has kind of come and gone. Like, he had a decent stint, did the bodyguards thing, and then he did his whole team with A-Train, Tensai, whatever you want to call Matt Bloom. And it was just like, there's nothing really for him. I don't consider him a draw. So the match really doesn't make sense to me, but
that's what I'm saying. The fact that they announced him, I was like, what? Like, it's unbelievable, because it just does not seem, I don't care. I really don't care. You know what I mean? It just does not seem, what the hell who were they thinking? Who's doing the booking now? Dave Lagana's not there. Is this just Billy creating stuff now? Does he have a right-hand man now? Lagana's not there.
I don't think they've announced. There's someone else that isn't coming back to NWA. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head, but I don't know what. Kind of one of those things where it's like, who booked this?
Yeah, it just seems very random. Also, the national championship. This is another one that I think is just kind of an odd match. Is Trevor Murdoch defending against Chris Adonis, however you want to call him. Why Chris Masters? It's the roster that they're announcing is just, it's odd. It's not going to stop me from watching the show. I already bought it, and I have faith that the NWA is going to put on a good show. They've put on a lot of really good shows since Billy has bought the group.
I feel like someone like Trevor Murdoch is better as a tag team guy. Like, personally, I really liked Caden Murdoch. Unfortunate that Lance Cade passed away so young, because I think he could have been a bigger player, especially after Caden Murdoch broke up, paired him with Jericho, and he got released and everything. But I think had he not passed away, we probably would have seen Caden Murdoch reunite down the line. And my whole thing is, personally, I'm a Chris Masters fan. People are some people, but like, I remember watching back in 2006, and it was one of those things where it's like, where did they go wrong with this guy? Maybe something, but where, I mean, I'll watch it, but it's another match that kind of doesn't make sense to me. I think some of the matches on the card, based on the we discussed previously, are just kind of thrown together.
Yeah, mentioned that after, but you're right. And then the Thunder Rosa and Camille. This one obviously does have a history. They've been involved in a feud prior to the NWA shutting down for a while. This obviously, I'm a huge Thunder Rosa fan, so this is one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most on the show.
So, with that being said, I'm also, especially after last night, and especially everything Thunder Rose has been doing on television, she's a phenomenal wrestler, and she deserves all the credit in the world. She deserves all the spotlight she's been getting. And I think for business purposes, I think Thunder Rosa should go over, which with Serena Deeb being injured, I think it's a great thing that even though we can't have the championship match, okay, here, we're going to have this number one contenders match, which I think is going to be another one of those things that's going to be great for cross promotion, because you think about it this way. Thunder Rosa wins, they can have the match in the NWA. They can start a feud. Serena Deeb's a pretty sound wrestler. You can do it in the NWA, you can do it in AEW, you can do it wherever, because that's the cool thing about all this cross promotion that's going on right now is, like, we've seen the NWA title defended in AEW, and I think it's one of those things that's going to be good business for both companies.
Bunch of newcomers to the NWA. Well, not necessarily, sort of. They've been with Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, this basically, and then New Japan as well. New Japan, LA, Dojo area. Slice Boogie, Jack Stain, Jordan Clearwater, and I got it written down. I can't see what Crimson returns to the NWA. This match, I think would be a pretty decent one, honestly. Slice Boogie, are you familiar with him at all? It's a corny name. Yeah, I think that guy's more than capable of putting on a really great match. I watched him in the United Wrestling Network and the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, and this is probably going to be the sleeper match. It's a 4-way match. Probably, I would assume it's going to be the opener, so I just feel like this is going to be a really good one. I know there's a television title match as well. Elijah Burke, and I can't remember his opponent right now. I don't know if you have it.
Burke is facing Tom Latimer, formerly known
as Tom Latimer. That match.
My whole thing is, like, I'm a huge Elijah Burke fan. Dude never, personally, in my opinion, went as far as he should. Like, he had a great stint in WWE. They first paired him with Sylvester Terkay, and then you put him over with the New Breed, which he ended up getting that WrestleMania moment that he so gladly deserved when they faced off against the ECW originals. Had a stint as the Pope in Impact, TNA, whatever you want to call it. And then you have him pop up in the NWA, and it was one of those things where when he won the belt, I was so psyched. You finally have this guy who's been grinding, and it's like, wow, like he finally gets, he's already had his WrestleMania moment, but he gets this whole other historic moment, and I personally think for business, it's best if he goes over. So I'm hoping he keeps the title opposed to putting the belt on someone like I said about Tyrus earlier. Putting the belt on Thomas Latimer, not a good PR move.
No. Now the TV tapings are for Power coming on the next day, which will be Monday. They're going to set to air on Tuesday. So there's going to be a lot of editing done right there overnight. They're going to be doing, I think, a month's worth of TV tapings. Now, obviously, you can't make 4 episodes with that same roster over and over, so there's going to have to be other guys coming in for just TV tapings. Now, whether it's people that have been on Power in the past, Rock and Roll Express, or I know Royce Isaacs is not in there anymore. Who do you think will appear on the show, or do you have any idea? I have not seen anything as of yet.
I haven't seen anything as of yet. I mean, like we talked about earlier, it would be cool that they could have someone like a Britt Baker appear, but at the same
that's what
with Dynamite being in Jacksonville live on Wednesday and everything going on travel-wise, I don't know if they could pull it off. But would it be cool because of what happened on Dynamite last night? Be great.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome.
Power, it's one of those things now. where it's interesting because since the last time they taped Power, there's also been a lot of talent changes. There's been a lot of behind-the-scenes changes, but the one good thing they've done is now they have this distribution deal with Fight, which I think is a game changer for them.
A lot of people are complaining because they're not going to be on YouTube anymore. They don't want to pay the $5 a month to subscribe to NWA Power. I immediately signed up as soon as they had Fight announced it this morning. I don't think it's really that big a deal. You know what I mean? It's $5, and to me, NWA Power is a quality wrestling show. It reminds me of the wrestling that I grew up watching as a kid, the NWA that I grew up watching. So $5 is not a high cost, thing to watch just a few episodes of wrestling. It's going to end up being 4 hours, if not more. They'll probably throw in specials as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things and what people realize is, I think someone like Ricky Starks who said, hey, I had this much in my bank account when I went to AEW, and that wasn't, maybe it was a shot at NWA, maybe it wasn't, but as far as monetizing goes and paying talent goes, if, they have this many subscribers for Power on Fight, that's, obviously there's distribution deals and stuff that has to be paid, but, that's also more money in the talent's pocket, depending on how deals work.
Right.
So it's win-win for everybody. And I mean, sure, you can't watch it free on YouTube, but you think about this, you pay $50 every 4 months for like a paper for like one of the big four for AEW, or you pay $50 a month for a WWE pay-per-view if someone pays that. I know I personally don't anymore because they're so awful. But
I was paying the $9.99 a month. Speaking of which, WWE's starting on Peacock this week. Actually, they started uploading stuff this week. And today
they launched today.
Yeah. I breezed through it, and obviously it's going to be a while before they can transfer all the stuff over. Now, what's your opinion on this whole thing? I mean, I think it's a great deal because I'm just like, I get the $5 tier for free with my cable system, so basically I'm getting the WWE Network for free with it, and I'll be able to stream Fastlane. I'm going to try to stream Fastlane through there, and if not, I'll just switch over to the WWE Network. But hopefully, because I hope everything works out the way that it's supposed to, because a lot of people had trouble with the WWE Network running live events when it first started, the first month, whatever that it was.
I mean, as far as the subscribers go, obviously there's a ton of Peacock than there is to the network. But at the same time, I think the deal breakers for me, you mentioned the whole $5 thing, which I think I also get free because of my cable service. But it's also one of those things where there's this $9.99 tier, which I guess you get more stuff. I haven't really looked into it too much, but my whole
$9.99 tier, you get no ads, and that's what the difference is. You just get no ads as far as the $9.99 tier, and the $5 tier, which is the free version for Xfinity users, you'll get ads when you watch pre-taped stuff or like the older content, or if you watch the other stuff during live events. They can't run the commercials though.
So my deal is they're moving over to Peacock. They've already launched it, but I think this deal, even though it's been in talk for months, supposedly truly came together last minute, because not everything is being ported over. So, like, if you want to watch, like, I think anything past, like, 2008, it's not on there. And based on what representatives have said, everything's not going to be fully ported over till probably the end of summer of 2021, which I think, personally, for me, the reason I have this work is I go back and watch all the older pay-per-views from late 90s to mid 2000s. I go back and I watch the Raws from 2004 to like 2007. I go back and I watch the Raws that I attended in early 2000s. So for me, I'm not making the jump yet. I mean, I'm obviously going to have to for the pay-per-views, but other than that, I'm not really pleased about the move. But I get it. Instead of paying for your own server, paying for this, paying for this, paying for that, you're basically renting these servers, renting this, and it's all it's a cost-cutting move. I get it. They want to make more money, but I don't really feel like it was needed with how profitable WWE already is.
Well, they just keep, they are an incredible company, I'll tell you that, because they keep, no matter how much money they make, they are the greediest company that because they always want to make more and more and more, because they always find different deals, just like the Fox deal was that last year. And it's just like they made a multi-billion-dollar. I mean, this is a multi-billion-dollar company as it is, and then they came in and signed up with Fox for a multi-billion-dollar deal, and now with the Peacock thing, who needs all this fucking money? Let's just be honest. But they're setting up all over the fucking world, And I think that's, I mean, I like the NXT UK thing, and I guess they're working on an India, and they were supposed to be working on an NXT Japan, but that fell through for now. They had plans to buy NOAH. So I don't know exactly, I like the different stuff on the network. Like, I like going back and watching the wrestling that I watched from when I was a kid, like the old NWA episodes, the old Mid-Atlantic, or the old AWA or World Class. So I'm hoping that stuff does make it over, and that they continue to upload that kind of stuff to the network.
Oh, absolutely. I think the move that's kind of strange, Peacock's like a United States thing. It's like, why are you going to get rid of the network in the States when you're keeping it open in every other country? It's a confusing move that kind of like you're getting rid of it, but you're not.
WWE's had a long association with NBC for many, many years, like since the 80s. I think Vince was friends with the big wig there for years, obviously Saturday Night's Main Event. So they keep finding their way back to NBC, and now obviously the Peacock network for lots of money. It is a very confusing move, but I think ultimately it's going to work out for the fans, especially you basically get it for free. You know what I mean? So I don't know, or with the or $5. It's like basically you're half the price or free, depending on your cable provider. If your cable provider takes care of that, and there's a lot of cable providers that do take care of it.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, what it's about. It's about money. It's about accessibility and how many they can get into. And like you said, with their association with NBC, deal was obviously going to happen. It's probably been in the works for a while. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Like I stated before, I'm not too happy about the older content not being on there right away, but hopefully they have that fixed within the next few months, and hopefully they port everything over.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, it'll be upsetting, but there is other ways to get wrestling shows. The internet is a glorious place. You can find them somewhere.
It is. You think about this that, something like a smartphone would have more processing power than a computer, say, 17 years ago.
Right.
Because, you think about, I don't know if you remember these, you probably do, but do you remember the Apple computers with, like, the clear back? They were, like, red and blue and purple and green.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah. I didn't own one, but I remember them, yeah.
But, like, I still remember, and, talking about the network, I remember 24/7 classics on demand. So it's kind of mind-blowing to think they went from this, hey, and I think 24/7 classic on demand was like $7.99 a month. You would always get the advertisements and the DVDs, or they would advertise it on pay-per-views, and like it was great. But you look at how much everything has evolved in like the past 13 to 15 years, and it's just mind-blowing how much content, especially wrestling, is at your fingertips.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things I liked about the classics on demand on the cable system, those was like $9.99 a month or $7.99, like you mentioned, something like that. You subscribe to it, and they would always change it once a month. They would like take whatever out and then put new stuff in, and they put a lot of stuff up there that they didn't put on the WWE Network. They would put like they would put like a particular episode of. Well, now there's some superstars up there, but they'd take like WWF superstars or like a random all-star wrestling, and then a WCW Worldwide or something like that. And they don't have any of the WCW TV shows other than Nitro and Thunder really up there. I mean, they have some Saturday nights, but a lot of those syndicated or 1 hour shows, they don't have like Worldwide and NWA Pro and all that stuff. There's still a shit ton of content they have not digitized that they own. And I don't know why they're sitting on it. Some of the content exclusive content they create for that network is just, to my opinion, pure shit. But
yeah, some of it, like the one thing like I like to watch is they'll do like the round tables, or which are the table for three they call it now, but I'm sure you remember like they would do the Legends of Wrestling round table on 24/7 class on demand. And it's one of those things where some stuff that they create that is so good, like the Stone Cold podcast. Personally, when he does it on his own, it's better because it's unfiltered and it's raw. Whereas you have the network, and don't get me wrong, it's great, but it's like watered down. And one thing I think that the internet network, you have all the WWF logos not blurred out. Now, because of the worldwide lawsuit and the distribution of content, it makes me wonder how this is all going to go, because there are certain things you can't do because of that lawsuit. So it makes me wonder if putting this on Peacock and on NBC, if we're going to go back to logos blurred out, this blurred out, and that blurred out, because of them switching over to something that is more publicly traded. And again, with the whole content distribution, it's going to be interesting all around to see what they do with what they have. Like you mentioned, like some of like WCW Saturday nights and stuff like that. With this move, we could either gain stuff, we could lose stuff. You don't know, because sadly there hasn't been that much information put out there.
It seemed to not even really throw all their shit up there and then, let the fans figure it out. So many people are worried. You look online, so many people are posting online, like, how do I sign in? It's like you don't sign in, you just get Peacock and go to the WWE section, and that's everything right there. People are literally freaking out about it, and it's really not as hard as people think. So many people talking about it online, saying it's easier than anything. It's just, I don't get how it's really difficult. This is my opinion.
They put something out yesterday, and they sent it out that said you'll be refunded after this date for the network, because people are still going to get charged for April, apparently. But the network will cease to exist at that point, supposedly. But I'm pretty sure they've also been advertising showing WrestleMania on the network. Might not be WrestleMania. It might have been Fastlane. I know Fastlane at least is still going to be on the network. And the Broken Skull session with Randy Orton is going to be on the network and Peacock. So it's going to be really interesting to see when the network really shuts down. They're saying April 4th. But I also think this whole network thing is dependent on how the Peacock move works. Peacock move could not go well, and we could end up getting put back on the network. It's too early to tell, because again, it only launched today. Like, I remember the first day of the network, it was awful. I signed up for the network, couldn't get logged in, took like 24 hours to resolve everything. And that's the thing, too. Customer support is going to be key, because when you're calling WWE Network support, or even like WWE Shop support, you're talking to someone overseas. Whereas maybe with this NBC move and customer support, they'll be talking to someone in the States. Who knows? It's just all around. It's a mind-boggling move. It's good. There's some bad stuff about it, but at the end of the day, it's almost kind of too early to judge, and we're just going to have to see it play out.
One of the things about WWE Network is when they updated it. Do you remember when they updated the entire network and just went to the current system? I've had nothing but issues with it since. I can't even watch a full show without it logging me out or saying we cannot continue, which I just think is mind-boggling. I don't understand how that happens. And I'm not the only person that ever says it. If I go to rewind something, all of a sudden it'll just log me out. So I'm hoping that situation does not happen with Peacock. Now, such as things as NXT UK and 205 Live, I assume those are going to continue to be streamed there.
I'd assume so. Anything about it canceled, and I know those are they're exclusive, and they've 205 Live. They could probably cancel if they wanted to, but they have so much cruiserweight talent that is so talented that should be on that show, and they have this whole NXT UK brand. They've built so much into it, so I don't see it going anywhere. But I think the interesting move is one thing about NXT that I'll bring up is now Walter's in NXT and not just in NXT UK. And I wonder why that happened now instead of
made appearances before NXT. One of the things that I'm thinking is that because NXT TakeOver is 2 days this year, they're doing it's the previous week. So my guess is that you're just gonna stack both shows, and it's gonna be him and Tommaso Ciampa at the TakeOver.
Which I wouldn't mind. I think that would be an incredibly hard-hitting match.
Awesome match. It really is. That's like, as soon as that happened with last night on NXT, I was like, oh shit, this is real. Like, this is going to be an awesome match. So I thought last night, from what I can remember about it, I got to watch it again. I thought it was a really good show. But I didn't hear anything about NXT UK closing down, and they're still producing stuff. So my guess is that I'm hoping that they keep it, but I know Walter's gone back and forth, so I don't think it could just be for the current, like the big event that they're about to hold. They have held big, like multi events where they've, NXT UK and NXT combined shows before.
Yeah, they've before, and I think another thing you mentioned they have going right now is you're bringing back, and of course it happened in other places, but you're bringing back the Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly feud, which is money. People seem to be very invested in it. And, you look at what's happened, like Adam Cole in Undisputed Era. You had someone like Pat McAfee, crossover. You had someone like Pat McAfee come in, who's a fan of the business, great talker, can cut a promo better than a lot of people out there, and he's entertaining. Cole on his sports show, they built an angle. I mean, I know they haven't brought him back, but in that feud, it's possible you can bring someone like Pat McAfee back because of him talking about how Adam Cole was always this and Adam Cole was always that. Because you put someone like Pat McAfee and Adam Cole together, it's money.
I think that it was pretty entertaining. Not a huge celebrities fan. I actually did his job right. There's that. Alrighty. So, is there anything else you'd like to cover before we wrap it up?
Nothing else I'd really like to cover. I think we've covered pretty much everything in wrestling last week.